Hey there, Aries fam. How's it going? Let's get into a general message for Aries and for the rest of January 2025. How about that? A message for Aries for the rest of January 2025. Coming right up. I usually pre-shuffle, so let's go ahead and cut the decks together, starting with the archetypes. I have a tendency to interpret these messages as pretty darn positive. So if you're looking for positive vibes, hi. First card is the Shapeshifter. Most of the time when I see this card, it feels very survival mode, if you will. And my question is it really still necessary, right? How many sides of yourself do you have to, like, because I worry about people who have all these people in your life, right? But you have to show particular sides of yourself to them, right? Because I feel like that should only be survival mode. So if you have all these different people, why aren't you surrounded by people who accept you completely, right? Those are the kind of things that I worry about for someone when I see the Shapeshifter card. Either way, because I keep thinking like many different hats. There are many different hats. There's so much that you're capable of. And I feel like there may have been, at least for someone, a line drawn in the sand. It's like reaching that point of, okay, no more on this. Good on this. You know, that kind of vibe, right? Like ready to go. Because you should be done with survival mode, right? There's always things to learn. That's life. Hashtag. But like, there's almost a feeling of lost time, like you were so hyper focused on this other shit that there's something that you haven't been able to focus on enough, right? Because there have been so many different hats. Let's see. Let's move on to the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle deck and see what's going on over her. Escapist, come home to yourself. There's a difference between needing a vacation. You know what I mean? You're burnt out from work and whatever the heck, and you just gotta go away for a bit. It's time. And watching as quick as you can the whole season of a show so that nobody on the internet can spoil it for you, right? Like, there's those things, and like daydreaming because you're stressed and you're kind of playing anywhere but here for just a moment, and spending your whole dang day daydreaming. I often say that there are two different types of Aries. There are Aries, you know, and there's a reason why they're the first in the zodiac. But then there's the other kind of Aries, which I tend to refer to as just negative Aries. Everything's negative. Everything's bad. Everything's doom and gloom. And so if you're having to spend your day playing make-believe, right? Unending daydreams, unending untapped desires and passions, then I bet you're done. I bet you're tired, right? I bet you could use a vacation from your mental vacation. So I guess that's more what I'm leaning towards since the Escapist card has come out, is someone who has been trying to fake it till you make it, but like, it's a whole new year now, right? It's 2025. So, and if you're finding this later on, if for some reason the algorithm is spitting up stuff from 5 years ago, which has happened to me recently. It was quite interesting, the random things from people that were coming up for me. Then it's timeless, right? So this is for someone who is just almost like at a breaking point. Or it's for multiple people, you know, maybe I've been able, you know, with the different angles, you know, this is a community read. There's a lot of Aries out there, a whole bunch of Aries. This could be a sun Aries, a moon Aries, whatever. But I feel like you've been working really hard, and I'm just worried as to if you've been able to be yourself and really fulfill your own passions, or if you're just performing for others. And then when you get that time to yourself, you're still not present, even for yourself, right? Because you're tired. Okay, let's see. Let's do some tarot. For me, I tend to think of the tarot as its own story. Within the story, like maybe the archetype and the oracle cards are the prologues or whatever. And maybe or maybe not, this can be some clarification time. I don't know. My voice is doing a thing lately. And I'm just like, I'm me. Love me for me, you know? So either way, let's lighten the mood a little bit. This is YouTube, right? Maybe we can gain some clarity through the tarot. I don't know. Either way, it's going to be a story. So what's chapter 1? Chapter 1 is the fuck around and find out card. Okay there, Aries. Let's just go to play, right? I feel like when this card comes up to me, because the person in the foreground, I can't help but notice how content they are, right? It's almost like, yeah. You know, why, if you wouldn't have done that, if you wouldn't start, I wouldn't have to finish. You know what I mean? It's very like, what did you think was going to happen if you're going to behave like that? It's ridding yourself and your life of toxicity, of people who are just behaving poorly, who are treating you wrong, who are speaking disrespectfully and such, right? It's hitting that point where you're able to recognize and you're able to handle it accordingly, or you're being recommended to do so. You're being given the heads up that there are people in your life, even now, maybe it's someone that you've known since you were young, right? Some people, our loyalties, we're just loyal to a fault at times, aren't we, right? I've known someone who was staying friends with these people simply because they went to elementary school together, right? They weren't even in the double digits yet when they met. And it's been very sacred to them. But it's really, it hasn't served at all. It hasn't served this person at all. It's been very detrimental to them, clinging to these relationships, right? Because ultimately you reach a point and it's like, why? Right? And then you can realize, oh, I guess I have been clinging. You didn't even realize it, right? For how long? Just now it's like, or just dealing with someone, like maybe it's someone you work with. There are people who have been in your vicinity who have just been douche nozzles that didn't belong there. And there's a difference between treating someone poorly and just, you know what, I recognize you now. Right? I think that some people don't know how to handle it unless there's some drama. So when you just have some manners and you do whatever in the moment, like if you work in the same place, so you cross paths sometimes, but it's job, so you got to mind your P's and Q's, right? But otherwise, fuck that person. Because like I pointed out, like I can't help but notice how content with their decision the person in the foreground is. It's like, you know what, I learned a lot from this experience though, and I'm going to take that wisdom and you'll just see what I do with it, right? Maybe you'll be nice next time. I don't know. It's your choice. What's chapter 2, fam? Moving on. It's the Knight of frickin' Wands. Okay. So something's coming in hot. And it's been brewing, right? Because it's not, it's one of the faster nights, but it's not the swords. That's the fast sword, or that's the fast knight. But this one is right behind them. So if we're talking about time, this could be like a week or two, right? Which, yeah, we basically have 2 weeks left of January. Oh my goodness. Every now and then I get one. I get it. But this is what I'm talking about. This card is exactly what I've been talking about with that fire within, that passion, that side of you that you need to stop dulling. You need to stop losing track of time and taking care of all this other shit, but you're not taking care of yourself. You lost track of time again, right? And there's some message coming in hot, like within the next couple of weeks, that speaks of passion and drive and courage. This, maybe just don't be hasty on something. Maybe try not to be too hasty on something. But the thing about the Knight of Wands that I keep seeing in like different books and stuff is it's usually successful, right? You might trip here, there, or whatever, because you were so like, just jumping the gun and shit, but like, it's still probably going to manage to work out. I'm just saying, right? Because you know what to do. You know who you are. You've learned so much, and like, you're going to handle things accordingly. I feel like I've said that a lot in the past week. Chapter 3. It's the freaking King of Wands. Well then, already. So, the deal with the King and Queen of Wands, besides those gold thrones, is they've been through so much, right? And they've learned so much. They're like, he's got his salamander, buddy. Like, he's impervious to fire. You've been there. You've done that. And you are able to look back and see it for what it was. You don't have blinders on anymore. The swords are the mind. There's clarity with all that crap now. Something has either just recently happened or is in the midst of happening that has really been enabling some epiphanies on a situation involving other people, whether it's work again, whether it's work or friends and people that you've known for so long that you're recognizing this doesn't need, just like, our paths can do this now. They can just now, okay? Like, this king is very capable of being comfortable, and the queen are very comfortable in their skin. They are not confused about who they are and what they have survived and lived to tell tales, right? Okay, so chapter 4 is the Four of Wands card, fam. That's the 1111 card. Yeah, there's something you've been holding back on that once you get into it, once these next couple of weeks are like, they're just gonna flow. Don't worry about it. What's gonna come up underneath the 5 of Swords? The Queen of Pentacles. If someone has been getting the frick in your way, and now that they're released, now that you've released yourself from those bonds, thank you, you can thrive. And it's not just about you, because these two, like, this, we're talking kingdoms here. Kingdoms that are able to thrive under their ruling, right? Whether it's your household, the company, whatever the heck, right? Because you have good ideas. You know what you're doing. You know all these seeds that you've been planting all along. Your passions are well placed, and you know what you're doing, and you don't need to be tethered down. How about what's coming up underneath the Knight of Wands? Fam, it's the 9 of Cups. This is a wish fulfilled, wish granted cup. The fact that we have the 4 of Wands and the 9 of Cups in the same dang reading, hello. What is going on? You're going to be celebrating some things by the end of this month. Wish granted. Jeez Louise. 4, 5, 15. Just noticing the cards. We have a bunch of very particular numbers and royalty playing with us right now. Okay, what's coming up underneath the King of Wands? The Four of Cups. So you've been so hyper-focused, right? And you haven't even been realizing that magic is still happening, right? You know what you're doing and everything's going to come through and you know it, but it's like there's been this one thing that has been distracting you and it's been getting in your way. And it's coming up underneath the Knight of Wands, though. Because the Four of Cups speaks of things like apathy, of getting all your ducks in the row, but then you're so focused on the physical things in front of you that you're not realizing the divine is gifting you already, right? So maybe it speaks on your expectations and things, your intentions, like with manifesting. People get very focused on very specific things. And it's like, why not leave yourself the loophole, right? Because what if it could be a be careful what you wish for situation? So why not leave yourself a loophole? So like, I've heard people when talking about SPs, like specific persons, right? Saying like when you're in your affirmations or whatever it is, when you're speaking your manifestations to the divine universe and such, to say, include things like, or someone 10 times better, right? Because the universe knows exactly what you need, what you want, how to fulfill you, right? Because you know, and you let the universe know, right? So what if sometimes we get these intentions and we're so focused on a particular thing about it that we can't realize that all around us things have been changing and the magic has been happening, and we just needed to get this one particular out of our way so that we could see again, right? See what's truly surrounding us, see ourselves, instead of being so concerned about the particulars, right? What's coming up underneath the Four of Wands? The Eight of Wands. How soon is now, fam, right? Geez Louise, my goodness. So much wand action happening here. And the Eight of Wands can speak of spontaneous adventures, fam. So if, you know, one of your friends is like, hey, I got an extra for whatever the heck, like, why not, right? I mean, depending, have your wits about you, right? These are, you know, don't forget what the heck you're doing, right? Don't get caught up in the moment. You know, remember what the heck. But it can also be a message, someone sliding into your DMs. Either way, the wands are creative. They're passionate and courageous and have that drive. But with the air, you can have those sparks of that flame, right? But having all these cups, or not all of them, sorry, that's a pentacle, a Queen of Pentacles, but having these two cups, these two particular cups, yeah, I think that's mainly what those things are saying. Forget at the end, like, don't worry about the particulars. Why are you so freaking worried about the particulars, right? You know what you're doing. What if it's 10 times better than anything else you could have ever imagined? Are you open to that? Right? Are you capable? Because I really hope so, because it's going to go well. And the Eight of Wands being the card that comes up underneath the Four of Wands. Come on. What's the epilogue to this story? The Hermit. What's that about, huh? I feel like, okay, so I have a tendency to notice that inside of there is the star. inside of that lantern? What's lighting this hermit's way while he's up there on that mountain doing his thing, getting his head on right, figuring it out and gaining all that wisdom, shutting out the world and all the distractions and really figuring this shit out. But coming in as an epilogue, I feel is a really good epilogue to this prologue of the escapist, right? Which began the reading, the shapeshifter and the escapist. I think it's time to come off that mountain. That you have a lot to just stop worrying about. It's not your problem. You've got shit to do. Things that you're really passionate about. So, what are the extra notes to this particular reading? My goodness gracious. Been interrupted a few times. It's whatever. Suffering the consequences of others, are we? Didn't I ask that earlier? Am I crazy? Did I ask that earlier? Was that a different reading? What's going on? What's the second one? Pisces. Interesting. Okay. Water to the flame. Okay. Pisces feel very deeply. And Aries can be very, very driven. There's a reason why they're the first sign of the zodiac, right? So what happens when you put it... That's my parents. Oh my God. I don't recommend. Maybe you could be the exception, whatever, but what are you doing? Don't dampen that fire and don't dry anybody up, okay? My goodness. What's going on? Is it the consequences of a Pisces that you know, that you're dealing with? What's going on there? Because it doesn't belong on your shoulders. If it doesn't belong on your shoulders, cut that cord, right? You can love from afar. You don't need to lose yourself in whatever is going on, right? You can care and be respectful or whatever, but enough with the self-sacrifice about it. I hope this helped with a bit of clarity at the very least. Looks like you have some, we have the Eight of Wands and the Knight of Wands. Like, my goodness. Thank you so much for joining me in this reading, fam. I really appreciate the company. And always remember that I love you.